1 minute past 8, and Smart FM to our listeners. Good evening, and thank you for all that you've done today. Those that are just leaving their workplaces, we want to thank God that you've successfully accomplished your task today. And for those that are still reporting for work, I know the night shift staff, especially the nurses, doctors, and the watchmen, security officers, it's your work time. We wish you the best all through the night. We are here once again as Pathway for Integrity Network. You know, we've been running these programs a couple of weeks now, and today is yet another day for us to discuss these issues of integrity and trust. I hope you're enjoying the programs every other day that we come on air as we discuss these issues pertaining to trust and integrity. We, as Pathway for Integrity, really look at a world that will cherish doing good to overcome evil, because it's the only thing that can leave this world better. Whether we are here or left the world, we better leave this world better than we found it, because it's the best thing you can do. Imagine leaving your children in a world that has a lot of anger, a lot of hatred, a lot of corruption. 100 years from now, what will the world be like? I know they will curse you for not doing enough as a person to change the world. So that's why we always here every Monday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. to try talk to someone and let interest them into being people with integrity, because no matter what you do in this earth, there is nothing you go with. You are entirely one person that will be buried, not many, not your wealth, not your cars, not your whatever that you're actually focusing on. It's basically you and you that matters in this case. How are you setting yourself and setting your character, your trust issues? How are you setting them? Are you making them a better person, or you are actually turning out to be the worst person the world has been with? My name is Innocent, and together with me is Pastor Asaf Isavide. Let him say hi, and then we can embark on our topic tonight.
Yeah, greetings, dear listeners. I believe it's a nice evening to all of us who are listening. To those who have lost their loved ones, we say sorry, but we encourage you, we ask you to be encouraged in the Lord. I hope you have had a very good weekend, and we trust that this week will be a nice week for you. But also I say that learn to encourage yourself. Some people relax back because of what is happening in the country, the different challenges they go through. But I want to tell you that if you don't fight for yourself, no one will come in to fight for you. In the same world where others are saying there are lots of disappointments, there are lots of failures, there are lots of challenges, others are finding opportunities to fix life.
Yeah.
So you need to take good use of every opportunity that is before you. To some people who normally get chances of opportunities, it may be a job, maybe something else, but when it's an opportunity in your life, make good use of it, because you don't know what will happen tomorrow. Do not relax back. We are all in Uganda and we are fighting to make sure that life goes on. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you being available every Monday, 8 p.m. This is Pathway for Integrity Network, and Pastor Asaf Isavide Afuga are my names. Thank you.
Yeah, before we unpack our topic tonight, I want to first of all thank the people that were with us at Civil Service College.
Sure.
We had a conference, a training. It was a launch, yes, in the month of July.
Sure.
17th and 18th. It was a 2-day launch, and we've tried to do a feedback process to understand from those that attended the launch what exactly they picked from that launch, and we are really loving it that you're bringing a lot of serious and very beautiful ideas on how we can strengthen our organization, keep calling us. As we call you back, please give us those feedback because it's going to help us develop a very strong organization that shall actually impact the lives of people in Busoga and Uganda as a whole. So those that have picked our calls and have helped us tell us what should exactly be done, how we can improve the organization in terms of making it more effective, in terms of resource mobilization, those that have told us how to strengthen the membership. Thank you so much. And we are keeping on the process of calling. We shall continue calling you. We hope we will even have another conference sooner or later to continue communicating what we are up to. You know, as part of Integrity Network, we've gone as far as doing field activities now. We went to Ivunamba 1 week ago. We had a discussion with a group in Ivunamba. We encouraged them, we talked to them, we gave them skills on how to practice integrity, and we are continuing to do this. We've got some ideas through the call-ins on Smart FM, where you've continuously told us that we need to take these programs to schools.
Yeah, sure.
That is something that we've repeatedly got from the listeners. Please come to schools, have school programs, either tertiary or these primary schools or secondary schools. All that we are getting from you shall be implemented. But you know, at the moment, we don't have the finances that can spread all our activities to whatever we are told to do. We operate a very small budget, and the source or the envelope where we get the money is still very small. It can only afford doing such public sensitization like on mass media, and then a few activities that we are doing, maybe office activities of renting our office and the rest. But we hope God will provide the finances. People will come to our way. Those that are getting the right full information about this integrity message will come up and fund us on these activities. We really so much love to come to schools because, you know, if we train the young people, then the entire nation is trained regarding these issues that we are talking about. But for now, we cannot afford. But we know it's part of our strategic plan. It's something that we are going to follow up and probably put hands on and ensure that we have managed to successfully implement these activities. Maybe a reminder, Pastor, to those that are tuning in the first day, who are we?
Yeah, Path of Integrity Network is a CBO, a community-based organization that is based in Jinja. We are located at Clive Road, Central East, Hussein Building, shop number 21 on the first floor. We have a mission of building a trustworthy global community, thriving on integrity, transparency, and ethical leadership. This is not something that is easy to achieve in the community, but we think that we shall join efforts, we and you who are listening to us, to make sure that we reach where we want to go or where we want to be. Why are we envisioning or working towards building a trustworthy global community? It is because trust has been the issue in failing development, failing families, and failing almost every sector of our lives. So if we can only fight to have trusted members or trusted community members, then many things will find success. Many programs will be able, will go forward. I always admire people who come from the outside countries, who normally travel outside or abroad. They keep giving examples of different countries being faithful, being people of integrity, and it's like it is what is helping them to thrive in life or to develop. Mr. Innocent.
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether you have also heard about that. You were giving an example of a friend who was coming from China.
Yes.
Was it the bishop? The bishop who gave us, I think we were at Busoga Radio.
Yeah, yes.
And then he was telling us about how China is developing.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, these people are people of integrity.
Integrity, yes.
And I wonder what is happening in our country. Now, when we come back to Uganda, some people think that it is hard to develop a nation of people of integrity. But you know, this can only become easy when it begins with you or me, you who are listening to us, and then us who are in the studios. We will not fight people who are evil, but we are using the acronym that says overcoming evil by doing good. Yeah, if you want to see a better nation, it begins with you changing. Don't mind about how many will change after you. Just start on the journey, then others will follow. So Path of Integrity Network, that is what we are trying to do, because we see very many people are crying. This evening I got a call from a friend who trusted someone with his truck to drive. Actually, he got this guy when he did not have a driving license. Then he told him, okay, I can help you to get a driving license as you drive my car. I'll be cutting a portion of your salary to cover your license bills until you cover it. So this guy accepted and he took off the job. Now, after finishing the money or completing to pay for the driving license, this guy quits the job.
He was working to
to cover the driving license bills, and that was all. So after, when he realized that he has it, he decided to leave and went for a better job, and he forgot someone
who actually built the skill in him.
Exactly.
Okay.
So these are the trust issues we are talking about. They are happening in shops, they are happening in companies, they are happening in families. So if you think that it will be us alone to fight for the whole nation, that cannot be possible.
And you see, Pastor Saf, the whole thing is people have labored to achieve whatever they want to achieve. Others, based on the aspect of looking for what others have achieved in a very long time, but their target is to get it in a short time. This in itself has created a lot of problems for people. One would lose his job because he was found embezzling or taking money that he's not meant to take. So we as Path of Integrity have a vision to see to it that if we can turn our country, Uganda, known on the good side of behavior, of character, where you can say these guys in Uganda are not thieves. That alone would actually promote us. You don't know how many investors would come to such a country. I know I tell people that because of the fraudulent land deals that investors have been led into, because of our habit of wanting to take an extra money from maybe a deal, connecting an investor in an area, this in itself has pushed away so many of the investors. I know in this country there is what they call the State House Investor Protection Unit, something of the sort. It is there to protect investors against fraud. In this country there is a State House Drug Monitoring Unit.
Sure.
It is there to safeguard the drugs that are Ugandan drugs. They are every part, every segment of protection is everywhere. And for a country that has a multiple agencies, departments, and units that are doing a similar job, that points to the problem that country is facing.
And can we say that now the president is only entrusting the army? Because
Yes,
State House,
that is it.
Yeah.
Why does he do that? Because it is taking him long to achieve what he wants to achieve, because there are people that are earning from the wrong deeds that actually they are doing. And it's not good, because it finally expands on the administrative cost, because as you create these units, you're actually paying them a job that was supposed to be done by another person. They are also equally doing the same. So there are a kind of duplication of role. You have one person who is the IGG, who is supposed to do the whole ombudsman role, but again there are other units that are actually doing the same job. So you'll end up spending a lot of money to actually protect your funds as a country. It's a dangerous thing, but it all starts with where we are.
Trust.
Are you a trusted person? Before you point a finger at me, please try to check yourself. How are you standing in the world of integrity?
Exactly.
Are you a kind of person they can rely on in your company if your boss is not there? Are you someone that can be given a role, an opportunity to do an activity plan in your company and you don't inflate it with things that are not there? Are you the one? Because we labor to see, so many people are fighting to see to it that they achieve a lot of things. They want to buy land, they want to educate their children in very powerful schools. But when you go into the deep understanding of how they make these resources, sometimes there is some aspect of not having integrity that has actually brought this money. So members that are listening to us, our listeners tuned into Smart FM, we have these pillars of trust that we've kept on talking about. If you missed, the first pillar that we talked about here was clarity, and how clarity helps an individual to be trusted. If you have a clear message, then you're most easily going to be trusted as opposed to one whose message is not clear. Then we talked about compassion, and here we emphasize the aspect of compassion being kind to others. If you're kind, whoever you show kindness will always trust you.
Putting yourself in
someone's situation, yes. We talked about that. Then last week we actually focused on character.
Exactly.
And we did say that one's character determines how much they trust them. If you have a bad character, then your level of trust will be to the bad people.
Exactly.
One with a good character attracts the good ones close to him. Today we want to look at competence. Competence as the fourth pillar of trust. How does it build you in terms of trust? How does it make you a trusted person?
Exactly.
I think we start there, Pastor. What is competence?
Yeah, competency may simply be the ability, knowledge, or skill to perform a specific task or function effectively. For example, where you employ a knowledgeable person. Competency can be in terms of, for example, if you're a doctor, I can't bring to you my car to fix it. Yeah. Because I know
you're competent in this human medicine.
Exactly.
You're not a doctor of mechanics.
Yeah, that's how we can simply define competence.
Yeah, true.
Someone doing something where he or she has the ability, has the knowledge, or has a skill.
Yeah, the ability we are talking about, the skill we are talking about, these are things that are built over time. You know, we earn competence by training. You are competent in radio journalism or mass communication because you were trained in that. And because you are trained, or you've gathered a wide experience in terms of what you're doing, then you know exactly what you are. And a competent person is always trusted by people. Many of you know that they still maintain the example of the doctor. You cannot move from home when you're sick and you end up in a garage.
Sure.
I say, I have come for treatment.
However much this may be an experienced mechanic.
In fact, however much he is a mechanic who actually does all the mechanical work on any type of vehicle, you will not cure.
Sure.
In fact, the worst will be that if you delay in the garage, you may easily die. Because the people you've taken your problem to do not actually work on such a problem. But if you majestically move into a hospital and you meet a doctor, that person will ably work on your problem because you've taken the problem to the right person with competence to treat. Because when a doctor looks at you, he will first of all get your background information. how did this start? When did you begin feeling like this? What did you do? Then it takes you, he actually writes something. The write-up that he's making is something that he's doing with competence. In fact, the language that he writes may not be understood by another person.
But you will have confidence in the person.
In fact, even if you can't read, even if you can't read what he has written on paper, you'll be confident that whatever he has written is communicating to the problem that I am having. And immediately he sends you to the laboratory, they take your blood sample and then make the blood test, and then the results will equally be written. You may not even have ability to understand what they have written. And then they send back to the doctor, the physician will tell you, please, this is what we find as your problem. Now he's interpreting, he's using his competence to interpret what they have got from the laboratory.
So you are simply saying, Mr. Innocent,
Yes.
that for us to have effective organizations, effective hospitals, effective institutions,
Yes.
we need to employ competent people.
Exactly.
People with the right skill
Exactly.
or knowledge in performing a particular task.
Yes.
But again, at some point, I find many institutions not having competent people.
Yeah.
Just because the competent are not trusted.
Yeah, they are not trusted. There are two aspects.
Sure.
And I think when we come back from this short commercial break, we are going to talk about them. The two hindrances to actually hiring people with competence in organizations, and why is it affecting these organizations in terms of growth. Let's get back shortly. In tuned, we are dealing with the topic of competence. You know, it's the fourth pillar of trust that we have tonight. For those joining us right now, I want to thank you for being part of the show. We are building this country together, and we look at living a world which is much better to live in than the world we got. And that's why we would ask many of us who are still living that, what are you doing to leave this world in a better state? What have you done today in terms of your behavior, your character, your trust or mistrust, whatever, to leave your home, to leave your family, to leave whatever in a better state than it has been? The whole responsibility is on us that are still breathing and that are still alive to grow this life and make a country that is much better. Later on we shall have your call-ins because we have a studio line as usual. I will read it out later on, but we are dealing with competence. Before going for the commercial break, we did actually say we are coming back to look at what does an organization face, or what affects an organization that employs incompetent people. Is there any problem with that? Because one would say an incompetent person is cheaper as compared to a competent person. In this case, competence being in line with one that has a skill or that has knowledge about doing whatever that they are doing. Is there any problem with that, Pastor?
Yeah, there can be a problem. For example, in most cases, you realize that companies or business people are using relatives who are not competent because they think these people can be trusted. I have a brother, he can be put in the office, but the end result will be the effect of the clients. The clients will quickly realize that this person is failing to perform.
Yes.
Because they keep consulting.
Yes.
They keep seeking for knowledge all the time. And so you realize a loophole within the organization because of incompetence. Yeah. This can easily be seen. And the growth of such an organization or company will be delayed because of incompetent people. So I was looking at mistrust leading to incompetence. Because the reason as to why the boss or the owner of the company is going out for cheap people or relatives is because he fears, he's not trusting the competent. When are the competent not trusted? We had a discussion and we talked about someone running a school when he's a business person.
he's not a qualified teacher.
Yeah.
He has no bachelor's degree in education or maybe a diploma or a certificate, but they've looked at an opportunity to start a school.
Yeah.
And they're basically relying on the knowledge and skill
Of the head teacher.
of the head teacher or the teacher
Mm.
to run the school.
Mm.
So, because the businessman is not competent in this and does not know what the entire teaching profession requires,
Mm.
all they need to do is to look at the teacher
Mm.
and look at the head teacher. But remember that because the head teacher and the teachers know that this person has no knowledge, they will easily wish to do wrong things sometimes.
Yes.
There's a
Manipulate.
lot of manipulate, do unnecessary trainings. They will talk about things like the extra work, and this money that they are planning is not actually being paid to the teachers. Probably, it is going into the pocket of the head of department or the boss of someone who is in that position.
Mm.
And in the reporting, they will report to the director or the owner of the school that, you know, for us, our teachers are okay. We pay them for the extra work that they do. We pay them for the extra marking that they do. We even create time for them to earn something. There are packages that we give them.
Mm.
This person does not know exactly what is happening. He's trusting the person that is telling him whatever is telling him.
Sure.
But with the time, the results of this institution or the school will not actually show the money the director is injecting into the school.
Mm.
That alone will kill the growth of the school. If it's an organization, it will begin to crumble because someone has been trusted of his competence, but they are not doing the right thing. I know one thing that our listeners need to understand is that a competent person dealing with an organization that has competent people, both from the directorate to the staff, allows a kind of new knowledge to flow within the organization. You know, a competent person is willing to listen. They are normally humble. When you're competent, there is no need to rush your explanation to someone.
But
Because
also,
you know, whatever you're going to explain is what someone knows.
but also many times they will submit to those who they think they're also competent.
Exactly. They don't submit to the incompetent people.
Sure.
They submit to those that are competent because they feel they don't need to labor to explain to one who does not know what they are doing. So
Yeah.
they look for the wise.
Mm.
And you see, that is how people think that professionals do not want to care about the day-to-day things that are happening, the politics of the country and whatever. That these people do not care. They are leaving things to those that don't know what to do. All they are communicating is that is not us. We know what we are doing.
Exactly.
And as long as for us we know, then the rest is history.
And let our dear listeners understand that what we need in our country
Yes.
or in every nation are the competent people.
Exactly.
The issue of trust can be dealt with. Actually, many times an organization will have a system to manage the competent,
They're competent, yeah.
than suffering with the incompetent. Yeah. So what we need are the competent people to be trusted.
And they should be in the right positions in organizations. You've talked about organizations employing their relatives. If you so wish your relative to be the head of marketing, your relative to be the head of IT, to be the head of maybe a department in that organization, please go and train them.
Sure.
Let them be trained and gain the necessary competence to sit in the position that you wish them to be in. The problem you're going to create is bringing someone who knows nothing to lead those that know, those that are competent. One, you're going to create a management problem
Sure.
in the organization. Because these who know will undermine that does not know. And you see, those that are competent tend to look on and say, now, when you look at this one, what can you also say?
Sure.
Me, I've been in Ginger Regional Referral for the last 30 years. I've seen it all. I am a consultant. I know what I do. So even directing this consultant to do exactly what you want, as an incompetent young girl who is fresh from School of Medicine, and then you're coming to give orders, it becomes a problem. We have seen some of positions in our country given people who are incompetent. I was reading Professor Tom's book, Solving the Puzzle of Development. He writes this book basically relying on the experience he had from Cameroon. He was working in one hospital in Cameroon, and because of this, the era of requiring papers, you know, government does that a lot. You need to bring your papers, you need to qualify in this. This created the panic among people to go and bring papers. And here comes a sensitive department which is electrical in nature. In that hospital where this professor friend of ours was working, there was a young man who loved what he was doing, but he lacked the papers. Then there was this second one
Who had the papers?
who had the papers but didn't know.
He did have the skill.
He didn't have the skills of doing work. So there comes a time when the young man who knew what he was doing because he loved it had to be pushed off the position just to allow one who has the right qualification to step in. The one with the right qualification stepped in but didn't know what to do. And you see, we don't want people to misunderstand us. Competence does not necessarily mean someone got papers and is qualified in what he read. You see, when we talk about people reading and going into school, going to school, there are those that go and just cram this, memorize what they are told, but they do not basically understand how things are done. So the young man who had the papers had to mislead so many of the hospital staff. People had problems with their refrigerators, and he would make them buy new thermostats.
And they could buy them.
And they could buy them. People would buy so many of the spare parts on an issue that is simply something
just
small.
Needs fixing.
But Professor Tom says in his book that he himself didn't trust this man because he knew he was doing the wrong thing. But because the hospital desired to have someone that had the documents, he is actually in that position. Then one time, a qualified and a competent technician visited the hospital. So those that he had worked on their fridges consulted from the other person. Said, now, we need your help, sir. Because we have been told that our refrigerators have such a problem, and we both still the same problems are persisting. Then one day, this technician went and helped to fix a problem. Only to realize that the problem was with the socket, not the refrigerator.
Not the thermostat.
Not the thermostat. Then where there was a problem with the thermostat, it had been turned down. It was not that it is faulty. It had been turned down, so therefore the refrigerator was not functioning to its normal capacity. It would only reach a point and set itself off. And people were shocked to learn that this man who was incompetent but had very good documents, had very good papers, had actually costed them part of their salary to buy these spare parts.
So what you want to say is that the papers should match the competence.
Exactly.
We are talking about competence being having the ability or skill to perform a certain or a specific task. Not that you are just educated. But I also wanted to talk about something.
Yes.
About employing relatives who are not competent.
Yes.
The other mistake again these people do is that this person is employed, at the same time he wants to exercise authority.
Yeah.
And they keep making more
of
mistakes. Instead of maybe learning from the competent person to show them what to do, so that the following day they can also do the right thing. They again exercise authority.
I've told you, Pastor,
And
maybe
down look.
as we get to another commercial break,
Yeah,
a competent person is humble because they are not in a rush to explain what they know.
sure.
A competent person is free and feels okay to get new knowledge. They are willing to learn because they believe that when they learn, they're actually more competent. They add on their competency. A competent person will listen. They listen a lot. Why? Because he knows through listening, it strengthens his decision making. That is a competent person.
Sure.
The moment you see someone not having those virtues, then they are lacking somewhere. And that, to me, is an early sign of understanding whether they are competent or not competent. We are getting right back shortly. In our last 12 minutes as we wind up our show tonight, we've actually been talking about competence, which is something very, very important. We look forward to hearing from people in terms of competence, where you challenge what it has affected your life. But the whole issue here is that a competent person is more trusted than one that is not competent. And because we are dealing with issues of trust, then you try to work on your competence such that the rest are trusting you. Mr. Magara is an ardent listener of this program. He bases here at the landing site in Masese, senior citizen, an NRM cadre, and for the good of our nation, we need to actually be competent enough if we want this country to become much better than it is today. The onus is on you and me to build a good country, to build a nation that we all desire to have. Let's stop, and this is from looking out all the time. If we were America also did their part to build the trust, the competence, the passion, and whatever that you see there was built over time. So we can do something. Whether we do it and leave the country when we have not benefited, but our children and grandchildren shall benefit, and that will be the best. We wind up, Pastor? Okay.
Actually, I want to tell the dear listeners that we decided to drop other countries so that we can have a kickstart for this program. So we are calling upon everyone who can support us to join us in support, so that we build a trusted community or nation, Uganda. Thank you so much. We meet next Monday, 8 p.m.
Thank you so much for listening. We are calling it a day tonight, and Monday is yet another day for us to come and discuss these issues. But please drop by our office. Come if you want to be a member of our organization, Pathway for Integrity Network. We are located on Haji Hussein Building floor, the first floor. That office number is 21. So that structure is on Clive Road, in the junction of Alidina Road, and then this is Alidina, this is Lubas Road. That new structure behind Bank of Africa is where we are located. That's our office. Please come, pass by, let's say something, come and discuss, encourage us, give us new ideas. I know you will not miss out a point if you came to our office. We have some books that we sell at 15,000, a book that our colleague Professor Tom wrote, and come and learn about our activities. What are we doing? How do we want to see these things change? If you can partner with us financially, please still come and support us. We don't have the money, but we have the hearts to change the world, because we want to make this world better by doing good to fight evil. A good evening.